So today we're going to talk about overpopulation. Overpopulation is something that I think needs to be addressed. And it's something that people seem to be disregarding at the moment. There seems to be this idea that somehow we can just continue to increase our population and everything's just going to be fine. And well, I don't think that's true. I don't think that that's sustainable. We already have more than 7 billion people on this planet. We use up all of our resources rather quickly. I do want to mention that when I say overpopulation, I'm not talking about the people who live in the undeveloped world. I am not suggesting depopulation by warfare at all either. They have enough land, they have enough resources if they had access to them. But with our current state of affairs, we don't allow them to have access to those resources, and we continually taking more for ourselves while they starve. So when I'm talking about overpopulation, I'm really referring to the first world countries, developed countries like the United States and the UK. Our soil is depleted. We're continually having to import food from other countries. The government can't even keep up with maintaining what they have, let alone adding new things. And yet they keep encouraging people to breed. And I just don't understand that. I think that's insanity. So obviously we have enough space in this country, but it's just not livable. You couldn't have any farmland or anything like that. It's too much people. That's what I consider overpopulation. So you could say, well, there's still plenty of empty land in the United States. Well, yeah, but that's just because most people don't live out there. They're concentrated in the cities. That's where all the jobs are. That's where everything is. So all of the available land is pretty much in uninhabitable places. Now, you may disagree with me. You might say, no, we should encourage people to have babies, that we need more people. I beg to differ. We already have more than enough people on this planet. And there's a lot of problems associated with having so many people. We've already depleted our forests. So now we're getting more fires, right? Because there's more dry brush. The plants can't support themselves. So now we have these huge wildfires that are running through California. Not to mention the fact that we're burning fossil fuels and creating more pollution. And I think people are starting to see this because now you have people who are talking about climate change, but it's still not enough. It's not enough that people are finally starting to wake up to the idea that we are causing global warming. That's great. But then they go back to their life and they still drive their car and they still buy products that are made overseas, had to be transported across the ocean in a big ship. When you think about shipping products overseas, it's a tremendous amount of pollution. If you buy something from China, it's going to come in a big ship powered by diesel. Then it's going to sit in a warehouse somewhere waiting to be distributed. And then it's going to get on a truck that's also probably powered by diesel. And then it has gone go into your local warehouse, and then you're gone go pick it up in your car. And this whole time, each one of those processes is polluting. And that's just for one product. So if you start thinking about how many products that you buy, you start thinking about all of the waste that you're producing, all of the resources that you're using up. And again, we don't have enough of either of those things. We're not able to produce enough food to feed everybody on this planet. There isn't enough water. We're having droughts everywhere. What happens when you have a drought? The topsoil blows away. All of these problems are going to compound themselves. And that's why I think overpopulation is a problem. Now, some people will argue that point. They'll say, no, we can fix it. We can always find a solution to every problem. Well, maybe, but I'm telling you, I don't think we should be pushing our luck. We already have too many people. We're already overpopulated. There's not enough resources to go around. We need to stop encouraging people to have babies. Yet what do? We pay people to have babies. We offer them free healthcare when they go to the doctor and get on some birth control or get an abortion. Why aren't we encouraging people to not have babies? I don't understand it. I don't get it. We have enough people on this planet. In fact, we have too many people. And this idea that we can just continue to increase our population, it's just not sustainable. Eventually, we're going to run out of stuff. Even our money, our economy, it's based on having finite resources. We're not just going to be able to keep growing forever. Something's got to give, and I'm afraid that when it does give, it's going to be very painful for everybody involved. You can see the signs all around you. You can see that our infrastructure is failing. Just travel anywhere. Look at any city. You'll notice that there's potholes everywhere, that the buildings are falling apart. We have more people than we have houses. I mean, you can see that all around you. Here in the US, UK, our government continues to push people to have babies. They tell people to go out and get pregnant, and they give them free healthcare for it. But why aren't we encouraging people to not have babies? Why aren't we telling people that it's okay if you don't want to have kids, if you don't want to breed? Why are we encouraging people to overpopulate this planet? The Earth is big enough. We have enough space. There's plenty of room, there's plenty of land out there. So why aren't we telling people to not have babies? Instead, they tell you that you shouldn't eat meat, that you shouldn't drive your car, that you shouldn't buy certain things. But they're not telling people to not breed. And I think that's wrong. In nature, if you have too many animals of a particular species, they're going to die off. Sometimes they'll kill each other. Sometimes they'll die of starvation. But there's a natural balance. When you add too many of one species to an environment, eventually the environment changes to meet the demands of that species. But it's just not sustainable. I think people underestimate how much pollution is created by having a large population. If you look at where most of the pollution comes from, it's from people. It comes from us. If we weren't polluting the air, the water, the land, we wouldn't have all these crazy weather patterns. we wouldn't have extreme heat waves. We wouldn't have massive flooding. We wouldn't have hurricanes that wipe out towns. We wouldn't have droughts that destroy crops and lead to famine. All of these problems are interrelated. And I think it's wrong to encourage people to have babies. And that's what our government does. They pay people to have babies. They give them free healthcare so that they can pop out a couple of kids. And I just don't understand that. I don't get that mentality. So you can see that in our everyday lives. We have too many people. We have too much pollution. The weather is changing. This is all happening now. We're seeing it now. So if we continue down this path, if we continue to increase our population, I think it's just going to get worse. We're going to compound these problems. We're going to make them bigger. So what can you do about overpopulation? Well, first of all, you can educate yourself. You can learn about the problems that are associated with overpopulation. And then you can vote for people who try to limit the population. Support organizations that try to help people in third world countries. Try to help them improve their living conditions so that they won't feel like they need to breed so much. You can do things like reduce, reuse, and recycle. Live a more sustainable lifestyle. Don't buy as much stuff. Buy only what you need. And if you're considering having children, maybe you should reconsider. Maybe this isn't the best time to bring a new person into the world. Again, we're facing a lot of challenges right now. We have a lot of problems to solve. And I don't think it's a good idea to be adding more people. But ultimately, it's your decision whether or not you want to have kids. It's your choice. But we should be made aware of the problems that are associated with overpopulation. We should try to educate ourselves and others, and we should try to live a more sustainable lifestyle. So that's my thoughts on overpopulation. Please feel free to comment below and share this with anyone you think it might help. Also, if you'd like to support the channel, please feel free to go to our support page. So thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.